Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And I'm here to talk about the recent WWE releases as requested by Mandy Rose Goddess, one of my loyal subscribers. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this originally, but now we're talking about 4 releases here. Arn Anderson, a backstage agent, complete legend, Hall of Famer, has been released, as well as TJP, Titan, Dillinger, and, of course, Kenta, Hideo, Itami. All have been released from WWE. Now, of course, with the exception of Arn Anderson, this was all dead weight, pretty much. Nobody here was flourishing. All these guys were pretty much just, they didn't know what to do with them. Now, I did see on YouTube, being subscribed to their YouTube channel, I did see that Hideo Itami was transferred over to 205 Live from NXT in the past year. And, you know, he did have some matches for the Cruiserweight Championship. But that's pretty fucking sad. So, let's go, you know, one by one with these guys. First of all, let's talk about Arn Anderson, the only one I really care about. Arn Anderson is a fucking legend, a Hall of Famer. It goes without saying, one of the 4 horsemen, one of Ric Flair's best friends, or on-screen best friends, whatever the case may be. Arn Anderson was even beloved by Triple H, you know, big name in management there. Also beloved by John Cena, who at one time was the poster boy from WWE, but, you know, it's kind of crazy that John Cena is almost like a non-factor now when it comes to WWE. So, John's not even around anymore. Now, Arn has been fired, and pretty much from what I looked at on Wrestling Inc., which is a dirt sheet, but, you know, this does seem like it would be a likely scenario, and even Meltzer Magoo commented on this. Vince McMahon, Arn Anderson have butted heads, so there you go. I mean, right there, you know, you butted heads with Vince McMahon, you're going to be out. And Arn, it was over a situation at a house show. Arn Anderson, like a true man, took full responsibility for what occurred, whatever that may be. Maybe a situation with talent, or maybe something went drastically wrong. I don't know. Maybe someone got hurt. You know, I don't know what it is. There's no confirmation from what I saw. But Arn Anderson was fired due to this. You know, for being a man and standing up. You would think that if, as long as the guy took full responsibility and didn't dance around, you would think that Vince McMahon might admire that, you know, the fact that he's a responsible adult, and, you know, he's taking responsibility for his action, which a lot of people don't do. But Arn Anderson got fired as a result for doing that, and I don't see, this is the thing I don't understand. If Triple H has so much power, and, like, you know, what's being reported on by a lot of YWCers and the dirt sheets about an internal power struggle between Vince McMahon and Triple H, you know, if it was like that, do you really think that he would have been so easily fired in Arn Anderson? You know, don't you think Triple H would have been the human shield and, you know, took the brunt of it for old Arn? No, I mean, so it's bye-bye Arn, and Arn might be headed off to AEW. But I'm not so sure about that, because there was also some dirt sheet stuff about Arn Anderson not being very happy with the current direction of WWE and its creative team. Well, I mean, that's a given. I mean, a guy like Arn Anderson that's basically seen it all, done it all, do you really think he'd be happy with all this flippy-dippy nonsense? Do you think he was really happy about Ricochet and Johnny Gargano and Tabasco sauce being, you know, shoehorned into the show, you know, and just with no introduction back? You know, Arn's from a time back when wrestling had pizzazz, you know, it had storylines, it had characters, it had true development for those characters, you know, back when promoting a show really meant something, and there was build-up, and, you know, there was anticipation, there was excitement, there was a true crowd reaction. You want to talk about dead crowds? I guarantee you that Arn Anderson has performed in front of some of the most lively crowds to date, And that's because he was part of one of the most exciting times in wrestling when the Four Horsemen were still active. You know, and you want to talk about competition for WWE. I mean, the competition, Arn Anderson worked for it. So he could tell you exactly what it takes to do competition to WWE. And I guarantee you, I don't think he would be for AEW. If he goes to AEW, would that benefit them? Yes, but, you know, when you have the fucking Young Bucks booking the show, and doing creative and all that, you think that Arn Anderson really wants to be a part of that project? So, you know, it is a possibility, but I would be very surprised if he signs on to AEW knowing that the Young Bucks of all people, which are they're not exactly very agreeable. They don't really have a lot of respect for the past. They don't really have a lot of respect for tradition, you know. So I don't think they have enough respect to hear a guy like Arn Anderson out. So I don't think so. But WWE's loss on there, that was probably one of the last bastions of hope for anything, you know, involving change in WWE to their creative team. You know, but obviously from what I was seeing, Arn wasn't doing a lot of good. He was probably getting ignored. It probably was for the best, and I guarantee you that Arn's probably not all that broken up about it. I'm sure he has friends there, probably going to miss people, probably like the environment and working for the biggest wrestling company on the planet. But, you know, the thing is, you know, Arn Anderson was probably being ignored. He was probably seeing the destruction of the form of entertainment that he loves and passionate about die right before his eyes, and that couldn't have been a good feeling. TJP, this guy was, you know, he won the Cruiserweight championship. He was the first ever, you know, well, when they brought back the Cruiserweight championship. I don't know if that belt still holds the same lineage as the WCW one that was brought over during the Invasion angle. Who knows? Who cares? All I know is that TJP, they brought him in as like this smiley baby face, you know, a guy that loves video games, cool, you know, 8-bit music and everything. And you might think, well, Brad, you know, you love video games. You talk about it all the time on this channel. It's something you're passionate about. So wouldn't you like a character like TJP? First of all, what character? First of all, how was the video games outside of his theme music even implemented in any sort of way into who he was? You didn't even know who he was. He was just a guy that did flip moves, no sold, and, you know, he won a tournament for the belt. Outside of that, it was like, okay, throw him out there, and now everyone's just going to love him just because. Just because. Obviously, to no surprise, that didn't happen. No one cared about him when they brought him on the main roster, so they shoved him onto 205 Live to rot, and, you know, they turned him heel, and it was a disaster for TJP ever since. And not only that, but he didn't even start off as TJP. They made it an acronym for him. And as a matter of fact, really thinking about it, it was TJ Perkins. I almost said that, I almost forgot. But TJ Perkins is, you know, was no more. They turned it into TJP, like turning it into an acronym. Well, now everybody's gonna love him, just like P Diddy. He was Puff Daddy, but now he's P Diddy. So now everyone, you know, if that worked, then of course everyone's gonna love TJP because everyone loves acronyms. Didn't work. See you later, TJP. Who's next? Ty Dillinger. So many people, including What Culture, loved Mr. 10 so much. They said that he was going to be the next big star in WWE. You look at TJP, and outside of him holding up his palms like this and showing all 10 fingers, what was he? I don't understand why that was such an over thing with the smarks. 10! He's a perfect 10. Oh my god! Oh my god, so clever. Ty Dillinger. I mean, you know, you just you're just such a star right there. I mean, who can do this? Who can do this? Who can hold up their palms, showing 10 fingers. I mean, that right there, that takes some talent. I mean, and also, like with TJP, I mean, you know, usually what people go gaga over is the flip moves. He didn't even do that. He was just one of the most generic talents I've ever saw. And, you know, in NXT, of course, when he wrestled in front of 500 people, he was super over. You know, he looked like he was about to take over the entire industry. But then when they brought him on the main roster, I mean, for me, the highlight of I'm still got TJP on the mind. The highlight of Ty Dillinger's career was him hiding underneath the table and stealing the Eggo waffles from the Fashion Police. That was about it. Ty Dillinger was an Eggo waffle thief. That's the highlight of his career. Aside from that, I mean, I just remember him jobbing out a bunch of times to AJ Styles in matches he had no hope of ever winning. You know, it was like a joke. He was just there to like lose all the time, as people held up their fingers. Then Randy Orton, you know, broke his like his like index finger or something like that. You know, because he got sick of him holding up 10. You know, it was. I don't know. This was one of the most bizarre things, one of the most bizarre characters I've ever seen. And to see the Smarks, like, go so crazy over somebody like this, that really showed that the Smarks would go for anything. I mean, if you would go for this, I mean, you know, would you go for, like, feet, too? I mean, honestly, like, I mean, if you go for this, why wouldn't you go for this? I mean, yeah, there you go. This is the first time you're ever seeing my foot. Check it out, huh? Right? I'm a soul man. Get it? I mean, honestly, that, like, right there, that was more entertaining than anything that Ty Dillinger's ever done. The bottom of my foot was more charismatic in that shot in this video than Ty Dillinger. As a whole entire person, as a whole entire character, as a whole entire career in WWE, my foot was more over. And guys, do you really want me to bury Ty Dillinger here? Do you really want me to send him 6 feet under? Oh, you do? Oh, alright then. Because guys, the singles competitor, Brad's foot, has just turned into a motherfucking tag team. Oh yeah, baby. 2 feet are better than 1. There you go. Almost looked like I was giving you a Claymore kick right there, right? You didn't think that Brad's videos, that Brad's Rules videos would become 3D. But they just did. Surprise, surprise, motherfuckers, right? But, we're going to move on here to the last one in line. And I saved him for last because, I mean, guys, Kenta, right? This guy was going to take over the entire WWE once he got through in NXT. So, you know, Kenta was renamed Hideo Itami because, you know, why not? Let's rename a world-renowned star. You know, like, why not just change his name? So, Kenta, the guy who, you know, gained a lot of notoriety in, I believe it was New Japan. And you would think that because, you know, this guy was a huge star in Japan, he'd automatically, you know, be pushed to the top. He got injured, sidetracked with an injury, but even before he got injured, it was, like, very weird how they, like, booked him. They didn't, like, make him a huge star right away. You know, they kind of, like, had some weird, like, build-up process for him. And that would make sense if it was, like, on the main roster, because, you know, it would be like, well, who the fuck is this guy? But it's NXT, so everyone knows who it is already. They knew he was a huge star, champion in Japan. The guy created the go-to-sleep, the GTS move that CM Punk made famous here in the States. So, you know, a lot of build-up was, you know, I remember when, like, they had Triple H announced that Kenta had come to WWE in the form of Hideo Itami. And then he was a complete dud. But, you know, it was like, I don't think it was anything other than just how they managed him, right? Triple H, you know, that's his baby. So why did he let Kenta, Hideo Itami, become the dud that he was? You know, if he felt he was becoming a dud, why didn't he push harder for him to succeed? Why didn't he book him in more matches for, like, the world title or something like that? Why didn't he, you know, make him champion? You know, like, they have so much respect for great talent, right? And international talent, and they're a global company. So, what happened? Then they signed on, and I think this might have been the kill switch here for the career of Hideo Itami Kenta, was they signed Shitcake Nakamurphy. And once they signed Nakamurphy, that was it. I mean, because it was like, okay, we already have 2 super popular Japanese wrestlers in NXT, Nakamurphy and Asuka. So there was no room for Hideo Itami. So once he got back from his injury, he was like, hey, what happened? You know, it was like, well, what happened is we replaced you with another Japanese guy. But instead of him being from New Japan, he was from All Japan. So they put him in there, and lo and behold, we didn't even hear anything else from Hideo Itami. It was like a few appearances or something like that. Then, you know, they shoved him onto 205 Live, and that was basically it. I think Nakamurphy got his spot, and I think that is why Kenta, you know, became a non-factor, and they quickly forgot about him. Like, half the time, you didn't even know he was there. And the thing is that the guy, like, I think he was already pretty much considered a legend or a future legend by the time he got to WWE, because he'd already accomplished and they did everything they possibly could with this guy in Japan. Because he had been around for, like, a long time. I think he had been around since the 90s. So they moved him on and, you know, onto WWE. And he thought that maybe he would gain popularity in the States, but I think just like with every single Japanese wrestler, I mean, honestly, guys, has there ever been one Japanese wrestler that has ever been super over? You know, like legitimately over. Not over with the smarks, but I mean like a real Japanese wrestler that got, you know, everyone super excited, got ratings. Of course there wasn't. Of course there wasn't, because there was always something like a language barrier. You know who was the most over Japanese wrestler? And I'm not even fucking joking here with you. The most over Japanese wrestler was probably a tie between Taka Michinoku and Funaki when they did the Indeed gimmick, because that was funny, because that was entertaining, because that showed some character, and that was why. So think about that. The Indeed was more over than anything that Hideo Itami had done with his time in WWE. And there you go, guys. We just about covered it all. There you go. There was your 4 big releases from WWE. You know, nice job, you know, wasting everyone's time with these guys. And thanks for wasting their time, you know. Like I said, all these guys, you know, like, I won't take anything away from them. Whether they no sell or whatever it is, all the WWE talent, from what I see, puts in a really good effort. I mean, even, you know, TJP doing all those fucking crazy flip moves. He puts his life on the line with those moves, risks his neck, risks his back, you know, just to entertain people. So I can never take that away from any of the wrestlers. So, you know, I wish all of these guys, you know, good luck in their future endeavors, because, you know, they didn't even wish TJP, you know, good luck in his future endeavors, because, look, guys, obviously we all know that all 3 of these guys, maybe, you know, because I'm leaving out Arn Anderson, because I don't think he's going to go to AEW, but I really, really think that even Hideo Itami, these guys are going to go to AEW, without a fucking doubt. They're going to go to AEW. They're going to stick it to WWE, because it's the only relevant game in town right now. You know, either that or TNA, but, you know, no, right now with AEW being the prospect that it is in many people's eyes, I don't think that anyone is going to be wasting their time contacting TNA anymore. Because right now, that's like a non-issue right there. That, like, now that AEW is coming out and there's so much hype behind it, that's where they're going to go. They're not going to find a lot of success, I don't think. maybe some marginal success in the very beginning, but in the long run, it's going to be a bust. But we've already talked about that. But anyway, guys, that's where I think they're going. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, please hit a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, thank you for watching. And this has been your YWC Champ. And I'm signing out.